Grace came home that Tuesday afternoon with her sleeves pulled down her wrists, but I noticed the purple marks peeking out when she reached for her backpack. My stomach dropped. "Sweetie, what happened to your arms?" I asked, trying to keep my voice calm. She looked at me with tears already forming, then bolted to her bedroom without a word. I gave her space that evening, thinking maybe she'd fallen or had an accident she was embarrassed about. But the next morning, everything changed. A knock at the door revealed a woman in a blazer holding a county ID badge. "Mr. Harrison, I'm with Child Protective Services. We received a report that needs to be investigated." My world tilted. Behind her stood 2 police officers. My neighbor Linda had called them, claiming she'd witnessed me violently dragging Grace inside our house and striking her repeatedly. Since my wife Rebecca died 4 years ago, when Grace was just 7, I dedicated every moment to being the father she deserved. Now I was being accused of the unthinkable. The social worker asked to speak with Grace privately while I sat at our kitchen table, my hands trembling. 40 minutes felt like 40 hours. When Grace finally emerged, her face was red and swollen from crying. That's when the truth came pouring out. 3 girls had been cornering her in the bathroom between classes, pinching her arms until bruises formed, twisting her skin while they whispered threats. Why? Because Grace had been cast as Dorothy in the school's production of The Wizard of Oz. The ringleader was Melissa, Linda's daughter. They told Grace if she said anything, they'd make it worse. I thought the nightmare would end there. I was wrong. Linda wasn't just mistaken. She was on a mission. Within days, she'd contacted half the parents in our neighborhood, spinning stories about what a dangerous person I was. Playdates were canceled. Birthday party invitations were quietly rescinded. When I'd arrive at school pickup, I could feel the stares, see parents literally pulling their children closer as I walked past. Even my own brother started making excuses why Grace couldn't visit his house anymore. I overheard him asking her strange, leading questions during a phone call, trying to get her to say something incriminating. Then came the morning I walked outside and saw the word spray painted across my garage door in dripping red letters. That afternoon, while Grace was still at school, someone hurled a brick through our front window. Glass exploded across the living room floor. Attached to the brick was a note telling us to get out before something worse happened. I installed cameras that same night, mounting them at every corner of the house. The situation escalated when Grace's teacher requested an urgent meeting. She spread several drawings across her desk, dark images filled with shadowy figures and violent scenes. The school counselor had flagged them as potential indicators of trauma. "These are very concerning, Mr. Harrison," she said carefully. But something didn't add up. The drawing style was completely different from Grace's usual artwork. Grace loved bright colors and drew horses and rainbows. These were done in harsh black pencil with techniques she'd never used. That evening, I sat down with Grace and asked her directly about the drawings. She broke down immediately. Melissa had created them, then threatened to hurt her even worse if she didn't claim them as her own. She said she'd tell everyone I was crazy if I didn't do it, Grace sobbed. I asked to see her phone. What I found made my blood run cold. Hundreds of messages from Melissa, each one more threatening than the last. Pictures of the bruises they'd inflicted, sent as trophies. Detailed threats about what they'd do next. I sat there scrolling through months of torture my daughter had endured in silence. The next morning, I walked into Principal Hendrick's office with my attorney, Grace's phone, and a USB drive containing footage from my security cameras. Linda was already there, having requested her own meeting to push her allegations further. The confident expression on her face crumbled when I placed the evidence on the desk. The footage showed Linda herself spray, painting my garage at 2 in the morning. The phone contained irrefutable proof of months of systematic bullying and threats. The principal's face went pale as she scrolled through the messages. Within hours, police were involved. The investigation revealed Linda had done this before, filing false abuse reports against 3 other families in previous neighborhoods. Each time, it was because their children had somehow outperformed or overshadowed Melissa. Melissa and her 2 accomplices were expelled. Linda faced criminal charges for vandalism, filing false reports, and harassment. Linda's ex-husband reached out to apologize, explaining that Linda had orchestrated everything because she couldn't accept that Grace had gotten the lead role over Melissa. She tried to destroy our entire lives over a middle school musical.